Kingdom Hearts begins its journey with a boy named Sora, falling into the unknown, which we would later know as Dive to the Heart. Very little context is given to the player at the start, and the events that take place foreshadows the future happenings of this game. Here, a mysterious voice guides you to choose a weapon to fight with against the endless hordes of darkness, all while on a circular platform with Disney princesses. You are then mysteriously transported to different places, questioned by Final Fantasy characters, and led to stairways as the only means of progressing forward. As you reach the end, you face against what seems to be a manifestation of your own shadow. Then you wake up in a place known as Destiny Island. It is here we are introduced to Sora's home and friends. Him, Riku, and Kairi are on a quest to leave the island to explore a new world. Long story short, the island ends up being engulfed by a mysterious dark force that was present in Sora's dream, as well as everyone else. Kingdom Hearts 2 begins its story with a scene in the Realm of Darkness, where two cloaked figures meet. Flashes of Sora's journey from the first entry glitches onto the screen from time to time. Then we are met with a boy named Roxas, who is set in a humble little town on a summer vacation. For those who played Chain of Memories, you will recognize this place as the puzzling unknown world that was related to Sora, called Twilight Town, and maybe even Roxas himself, from the end credits of Riku's playthrough. There's a little more context in this introduction than in the first game if you played Chain of Memories, but there's still a lot of questions. What happened to Sora? Who are the nobodies? Who is Roxas, and why does he have the Keyblade? Why do strange occurrences keep on happening around him? After searching for Roxas' answers by going through another deep dive, confronting Diz, Namne, and Axel, it turns out Roxas is Sora's nobody, once best friends with Axel, who is put in a virtual world with no recollection of his past temporarily. Say what you will about the opening hours of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, they were both memorable, crazy, and confusing experiences due to the little context behind the situations it presented. And if that was the goal, the developers definitely succeeded with flying colours. But now we have Kingdom Hearts 3, with greater story information than ever before, since the lore has grown so much since the first two numbered games. So just how will Kingdom Hearts 3 open up? It's hard to judge how this game will start, as it's difficult to distinguish a pattern after two demonstrations. But looking at how the other titles began, we can highlight the difference. Chain of Memories began fairly normal, leaving off where KH1 ended. Birth by Sleep in the Land of Departure, where we are introduced to Terra, Aqua, and Ven, training to become Keyblade Masters. 356 over 2 days shows Roxas' story and how he came to be. Recoded is collecting data from the journal. Dream Drop Distance is after Kingdom Hearts 2, where Sora and Riku take the Mark of Mastery. And 0.2, a Fragmentary Passage, begins where Birth by Sleep Final Mix left off. All rather normal starts that contrast to the first two numbered games. What we do know, however, is according to Tetsuya Nomura himself, Twilight Town will be a tutorial segment in the game, in an interview with Japanese media outlet Dengeki, which was said in 2017 of last year. And in 2015, Tetsuya also stated the conversation between young Xehanort and Eraqus will be a part of how the story kicks off in the game, which is pretty interesting. Finally, in an IGN interview, the director stated there will be another playable character in the game aside from Sora. The titles prior to Kingdom Hearts 3 have set up many story elements to be addressed, so we'll be discussing some important characters involved in the story and how they could be incorporated within the opening hours of Kingdom Hearts 3. I'll be keeping in mind the very bizarre tutorial segments of the first two numbered games, as well as the information we currently have. The first most obvious scenario is Sora, Donald, and Goofy going to Twilight Town first to try and regain his lost powers. However, in the ending of 0.2, Sora clearly states he's going to Olympus Coliseum. But there is emphasis put on may your heart be your guiding key, so maybe Roxas influenced the portal that Sora made that was originally going to go to Hercules' world. There'll have to be more of an explanation than that for this theory to make sense. But from a development standpoint, it is very much possible, because Twilight Town was the first world that had actual gameplay to be shown. But since the first two initial trailers, we haven't seen Sora in his Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit. We've seen more so of it in Olympus Coliseum, naturally, and as a dry form known as Second Form. Maybe there's some trouble in the town that leads to Sora having to stay for a while or something else. Could it be Ven influencing the portal to go to Twilight Town because he senses Vanitas is causing some sort of trouble? I can't see this introduction having the same dramatic impact as Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, unless Tetsuya Nomura reveals some sort of huge revelation there. But another way they can go about this is a time skip forward in the beginning segment where Sora and his friends are currently in the town, and a lot of chaos is going on, and cuts back to the beginning of the timeline in Olympus Coliseum. We've seen this style of storytelling in both flashes of 356 over 2 days and Dream Drop Distance, where they show segments of the future and jump back to the present day, as the introduction of the game. This could create the mystery and tension throughout the game, as the players await to get up to that point. The next thing I can think of is playing as young Eraqus or Xehanort in a flashback, which would be extremely interesting. The reason why I'd say this is because from what the director said, the conversation between the two will be some sort of opening to the game in a form of a cutscene, however gameplay wise is unknown. The past as portrayed in trailers seems very important because it probably contains the passing on of the no-name Keyblade to Xehanort, his motives, connections to the Masters of Masters and Luxu, what exactly happened to the two students' master, the relationship of Eraqus and Xehanort, and the eventual corruption of the villain. But they'll have to be both in Twilight Town. As to why they're both there, it's a mystery. But we have to keep in mind this is a place that is special, being a rare world in between the realm of light and dark. They could be sent there on some sort of mission that may have changed Xehanort into the person he is today in some sort of way, or the meeting between the two for the first time, as we know Xehanort was originally from Destiny Island. And since the mysterious town where Yensid lives is connected to Twilight Town, we could potentially see the relationship between the three, and if there's something greater than what meets the eye. Eraqus did refer to Yensid as a dear old friend in Birth by Sleep. Finally, I'd like to add the possible relevance of the old mansion. A lot of major events happen there in the series, but it seems the history behind the haunted place is still unknown. It just has such a distinct and mystifying design that I've always been curious about. This time period of the young past is quite the enigma, so if the developers could pull this concept off, we could be in for a fantastic experience. The third scenario is maybe something to do with Kairi. Judging from the setup at the end of Dream Drop Distance and 0.2 of Fragmentary Passage, she is called by Yensid to discuss her training with Merlin, potentially becoming a Guardian of Light, which hasn't been confirmed. But if that's so, she could really be a unique and special asset to the team, being both the Guardian and Princess of Heart, so her role as a playable character in the opening hours would highlight her importance, which would be fantastic for the series. She'll be training with fan favourite Lee in an unknown location, which could very well be in the town. During Lee and Kairi's training sessions, they could run into an Organisation 13 member like Isa, which could open up development between the two characters bonding, since they don't have the best history together. Lee could introduce to her an old tradition of eating sea salt ice cream on the clock tower. We may even see him trying to remember Shion when he looks at Kairi in this scene. The reason why I think Kairi might be a playable character is that she was pushed and set up for more of an important central role from the games released more recently for Kingdom Hearts 3. What better way to express this than to have her as a playable character and explore the strange bond between her and Lee. The only problem with this idea is the location might not even be in the town, but instead in Hollow Bastion, which was where we last saw Merlin. If that's the case, it leaves room for Kairi to explore her old home that was once Radiant Garden, which seems more likely. In Lee's case, it would make more sense for it to be in Twilight Town, as it is an important place to him, but at the same time, we do know that Radiant Garden was also once his home. They could still make both concepts possible, training in Radiant Garden and resting in Twilight Town, like how Axel did in 356 over 2 days. By the way, I'm sure a lot of us would welcome the idea of playing as Kairi, because her character development is certainly needed. Other than those characters, I really can't think of anyone else who could open up Kingdom Hearts 3. Riku and Mickey are going straight to the Realm of Darkness where Aqua is, Ren is still asleep, Terra is controlled by Xehanort, while Roxas is in Sora. There could be a new character introduced into the opening hours, with a new type of enemy, like in the second game, but I would go against the idea since there's already so much to address in the current story and so much going on. Whoever will involve, whether new or old or from Union Key, I'd hope we get another awesome deep dive sequence like in traditional numbered titles. To start off the game as either Kairi, young Xehanort or Eraqus would be quite an interesting twist to what most of us would have expected. I think to play as either Eraqus or Xehanort would be the most intriguing experience, because for me personally I've always wondered about their backstory. It would have the unique, memorable and original feel that Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 had, if done correctly. But that about wraps up this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.